Okay, welcome back. We're going to have a look at making the reflector in this video. So in the previous video you should have made the seals, and you can see I've color coded my seals. So I've created the bottom one is purple, the bulb housing here is one as blue, and that's for the lens cap there in green and the lens in yellow. So for when we come to the assembly, it's worthwhile just going back and making sure they're all color coded. I've also got my rubber seals all in one folder here, so you can see the seals that I've got here, and then if I go home then I've got all my other parts here. So the reflector here has a number of different dimensions on it, and again it's creating a curve, and so it's the way in which we build up that curve. And you'll notice on this technical drawing we don't actually have the dimensions for that curve, but that's because of the way in which we're going to build that up, and we're going to use other reference points. So essentially we're going to do a revolve, and we're going to start by coming out, up, across, all the way up, across, ignoring the curve and also ignoring the slant that we've got here. So let's get started with that. When we're in our main parts, we're just going to click the plus, create Part Studio, and we're going to rename this Part Studio Reflector. Now because we're going to do a revolve, we're going to use the front, and we're going to sketch that and change our view. And then when we have a look at this reflector technical drawing, we can see, and I've purposely put some half dimensions on here just to help us out. So from the center line, we're going to go out 24.95, up 1.5, in 0.95, which takes us to there, up 1.5. So we're going to do that first. So back to here, we're going to go out, and that's going to be 24.95, and we can just do this as a continuous, doing any length 1.5. We're then going to come back in, and that's going to be 0.95, and then we're going to go up by 1.5. So that, hopefully, if I've got that correct, out, up, back in, and that leaves us at this point here. We're now going to ignore the curve, and we're going to come up by 23, which will bring us to some point mid-air here. And then looking at this, we can see that 13.5 will take us in. So up by 23, in by 13.5. 23 up, right angles, 13.5. Okay, I'm just going to let go of that line by pressing escape. So we've got our main points there. We're then just going to use the 3-point arc. We're going to take our reference point down here. We're going to click up there, and we're going to come down until it snaps onto that line. When it snaps onto that line, we're going to click, and that's going to give us the curve. Now for the time being, we're going to leave that lines in here. We're not going to delete them yet, and we're going to use this offset tool. Now if we have a look, this time we look on the right hand side, we can see on this cross section we've got a line that follows parallel to that line, and the distance we're given as 1.5. so we can use this offset tool. Let's just zoom in a little bit. We're going to click, and this is going to give us an arrow saying which side of the line we want to go. So we decide that first by going to the inside. Then you click enter, and then that will ask you how far do you want the two lines to be apart, and we know we want them to be 1.5, and that will give us that line, which is great. So we can now leave that line. We leave these in here for the time being, and we're going to take this and we're going to bring it down. So that's then going to complete that part. So we've got the outside of our reflector coming in there. Looking at our technical drawing again then, we're sat at this point and we've got our curve. So we're going to go up and we're going to ignore this slice for the minute. So we're going to go up by 23. So up by 23. That's nice and easy to do. Now for this section we know it's going to be 1.5 wide because we can see in the cross section here it's 1.5 wide. So right angles 1.5. We're then going to come down and I'm just going to go level with the bottom of my line there until it snaps. You can see it snapped to right angle there. And then I'm just going to join those two. So that's our main shape, and now we just need to delete what I'm going to call our construction lines, the things that helped us build it. So we're going to delete that one, and that one there. So that's the main reflector shape. Now we know for a revolve we can tick that, do one more sketch just to give us an axis, any length line, and then we do what we've done before. We're just going to do a revolve. We're going to revolve this section here and I'm going to revolve it around that there. So there's our reflector and we tick that. Now if we have a look at our reflector, you can see it's got a slice. So if I show you back to my original one here, you can see it's sliced off across like this. So to do that, what we're going to do, and you can see if I look down, these planes, these surfaces here, cross our part. So we're going to pick either one of those, doesn't matter which. I'm going to create a sketch on those. And we're essentially going to draw our triangle in here, and then we're going to remove a section. So, looking at our technical drawing here, we know the part is 21 millimeters wide, so that's 10.5 in each direction. So we're going to start here. Now it won't reference onto anything because at the moment we're in space there. There's nothing to actually reference, but that doesn't matter too much, so we can go any height. I'll do it above just to make it nice and easy. We're going to set that is 10.5. Oh, not 1.5, sorry, that's 10.5. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but maybe my internet glitched. Let's try one more time. Out over that way, 10.5. There we go. And then we're going to do 10.5 in the other direction as well. Now, if we have a look here, we can tell how big our actual part is. We've got to do a short bit of maths. We need to get the distance from here all the way up to here. So we've got 5 plus 18, so that's 23, plus 23 there, which will take us to 46, plus 3 to get down. So it should be at 49. Let's see if my maths is any good. I'm going to take that point there, take my bottom point there, and I'm going to set that as 49. And we can see that's now sat on that edge. That's good. Now if we have a look, we're going to come down by 5 and then join that point there. So grab my line, down by 5, and then join that point. So now I've created this triangle in the middle of my shape. I'm going to click revolve, extrude, not revolve, remove, and this time I'm going to do it, if I click this little down box, symmetrical, so it's going to do it in both directions. And you can see it's removed that triangle section off both sides. If I tick that, that's then the reflector, all done. So that's the reflector part.